This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And today we're going to be talking about D'Angelo Russell possibly being traded to the Timberwolves. They made a deal with the Hawks to send Jeff Teague over there. So we'll talk about that deal and then talk about what it could possibly open up for the Minnesota NBA team. Then we're going to bring in a patron, Bilal, our guy, our LA guy, and he's going to talk about Zion and the Pelicans, what Zion's going to bring to the court, obviously what he's going to bring to that team as well, and if he can make a substantial impact on that team to possibly bring them to the playoffs. Then we're going to do Wet Boys.
We talking playoffs?
And then we're going to finish out with some probably maybe a playoff team talk, but they're still bad. The New Jersey / Brooklyn Nets, now the Brooklyn Nets, used to play in Teaneck, New Jersey. Figured that out this week.
Really?
I always thought it was Newark for some reason, but it was Teaneck.
Well, I mean, if you're going to New Jersey, there's only two places that I can think of off the top of my head.
Atlantic
Newark.
City.
Oh, I even forgot about Atlantic
There you go.
City.
How do you forget that?
Newark and then Hoboken.
Yeah.
Hoboken.
My guy.
This guy.
Dropping a Hoboken.
And the only reason I know that is because Barstool did their pizza thing in Hoboken this week.
Gross. Anyways, that's going to be what we're talking about. We're talking about D'Lo. We're talking about the Pelicans. We're going to talk about Wet Boys. I'm going to yell at Ricky again for his awful Wet Boy. And then we're going to do some net talk. So it's going to be fun. We do want to thank obviously Bilal, who will be a patron, and you can help support us at patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. Dave's going to pull up the sweet fancy new page. It's probably up right now. He's trying to
Took
find
me a minute. Ricky named it weird.
But yeah,
It's
no.
just Twitch things.
Yeah, why is it
should be
patron?
patron things.
Yeah, it should
Seriously.
be patron things.
Well, I'm
but-
thinking we're on Twitch.
But on the
at
screen,
things.
those are all of our patrons that we're very, very thankful for. We appreciate all their support at patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. Anyways, let's jump into the deal. D'Angelo Russell now possibly being in rumors to possibly go to the Timberwolves, and that is set in place by the Minnesota Timberwolves sending Jeff Teague and a player. Right? They sent one player.
Yes, Graham.
They
Not
sent,
Devonta Graham.
Yeah, they
but
sent
Graham.
I think Trevon
Yeah.
Graham. Graham, Teague and Graham to the Hawks for Allen Crabbe. So the Hawks get their secondary ball handler behind Trae Young and reunite Jeff Teague in Atlanta, and Minnesota gets really nothing for this deal. So I was kind of shocked a little bit by that. Let's start off there, and then we'll talk about what it opened up for Minnesota and possibly what they could be getting, but not from the Hawks. I was pretty shocked that they couldn't get a second.
Okay, so here's the thing.
They got bigger fish to fry.
Allen Crabbe, in theory, is better than what Teague provided for the Timberwolves. Teague, yes, he could get his numbers, but I think the biggest complaint I saw about him while looking through a lot of their subreddit was basically he will just dribble the air out of the ball, and their offensive system, even if Cat's on the floor, is not going to run through Cat. It will run through Teague, and it just he was a net negative for how they wanted to play the game. And because they're using point guard Wiggins, point guard Culver out there, you don't really need Teague out there. So I get that, and you pull in Crabbe, who in his career has been a really good 3-and-D player. Great shooter from three. Unfortunately, it looks like a down year right now playing in the Hawks system, but I still think he can return to form, and I think that the Timberwolves will get some better spacing out of him. So I think it's not as bad as you're saying it. I do think they should have got a second. I think that would have absolutely made sense. So it's a little disappointing, but asterisk.
I mean, Allen Crabbe is very much a bench piece. Jeff Teague could be a starter in this league. I mean, although he can be a net negative, at least to an offensive system in ways, I also don't think that team truly had a great enough ability to move the ball anyways. I mean, you have Cat, but Cat's probably better off anyways in space. He's not really great in a pick and roll system. We've seen Teague be great in a team ball moving situation in Atlanta with Coach Bud before. I don't think that's lost on him. He was only 31 years old. And with Crabbe, too, I mean, Crabbe's been pretty much a huge disappointment with this contract. He hasn't shot over 40% in 3 years. And from three, that's where he's most valuable for. Actually, I'm sorry, he hasn't shot over 40% from three in 3 years. I was looking at the wrong thing. But he still hasn't, last time he shot over 40% from the field was 2016, 2017, when he shot 46% from the field. Then he shot 40%, 36%, and 36%. But from three, 32% this year, 37%, 37%, 44%. And he hasn't been in double-digit points since 3 years ago when he averaged 13.2. So he just seems like a negative player out there, especially with this contract. The whole joke was Alan Crabb died so KD can go to the Nets.
Do you like the whole fact that this is like full circle trade though? Like when you look at because it was Teague leaving town. Oh god, I'm gonna get killed for this.
He left in 2016.
Right, they
got the Pacers.
Right, and then if I remember right, the Crab deal was. Oh man, I should have pulled this up ahead of time.
He went from Portland to the Nets.
I think it was full circle. I think like literally it went full circle for Jeff Teague getting traded out for the piece that got moved. Oh, for the draft pick that became who's the wing on the Nets now?
Taurean Prince.
And Taurean Prince was traded for Alan Crabb, and then Alan Crabb was traded back for Jeff Teague. That's what it was. So it was Teague for a draft pick,
little
basically.
triangle of perfection here.
Draft pick is Taurean Prince gets traded for Crabb for
there you go.
Teague again.
So the Hawks just traded for Jeff Teague 3 years later, 4 years later.
It's a beautiful circle. That's where I was going with that one. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You butchered it, but you also
in.
got it, so it doesn't matter. So thank you. But the Hawks did get their secondary ball handler. I don't know how important that is. Kind of weird to see them buying though, because it's like don't you want to be bad?
They were so bad though. That's the thing. Like when you have a roster that young, I think that, and this kind of leans into the Kyrie comments a little bit. I'm not going to touch it too much, but the whole you don't want to set the wrong culture out the gates. And I think with a team that young, you don't want to have it be acceptable to be blown out by 40, 30, 50 points on a nightly basis. You have to be competitive to an extent. And I think by adding Teague in, it gives them a chance to compete in every game instead of the if Trae Young's not feeling it that night, they have no right to be on the court.
Or maybe this is what our team could look like if we have that second ball handler and they're not just waiting for, hey, we'll wait until we get there and then it's okay, then we can do what we really want to do.
Right.
Yeah. And, overall, again, I don't think Minnesota won this deal. I think if any team won it was the Hawks. You didn't give up anything substantially to, acquire Jeff Teague. And even then, getting rid of Crabb frees up time for DeAndre Hunter, frees up time for Cam Reddish.
Vince Carter.
Vince Carter.
It
gives you the ability to play some of these younger guys and not really worry. The wings can be the wings that you have on your team, and then you're not running Trae Young into the ground. So, I mean, the Hawks won this deal, but Minnesota wasn't really going into this deal to win the deal, Ricky.
I don't think there's a winner or a loser, though. I hate to cut you off, but even looking at ESPN, it irritates me that ESPN's even that the Hawks get an A and the Timberwolves get a D. It's there are bigger fish to fry on the horizon. This deal is not it for the T-Wolves. They're going out to make another one.
But when those grades are given out, they are literally giving it in a vacuum because no deal has been made.
For the T-Wolves, I would say wait and see. If they don't make a deal, then bad deal.
But the whole point of grades is to grade it. So this is what you get for trading Alan Crabb for Trevon Graham and Jeff Teague. It doesn't matter what the setup is because you have to set it up and actually execute. So although they have bigger plans and bigger fish to fry, as you were saying, they're still 15-26. They're still right now 4.5 games out of a playoff spot, and they don't have D'Angelo Russell on their team. They don't have another player that they're going to bring in with that open roster spot. So right now they do get a D because they lost the deal.
They do have a guy who's playing up in the G League who they could sign if everything goes wrong. I'm not saying it's a win. I'm just saying they've got someone who was playing really well in the G League.
With me, it's just
I know Sean.
Are we talking the same person?
Not Naz Reid. No, Naz Reid's already playing on the team.
Yeah, but he hasn't got the guarantee contract yet.
Okay. So, but no, he's got a spot up on the team right now.
Yeah, I just think that with the Wolves, it's what can you do from here? Are you going to be able to? And really, the big one is D'Lo, because everyone and their grandmother is reporting that hey, they're intensifying their offer for D'Lo. The question is, and this was proposed on Twitter before the Alan Crabb trade. From our boy Mike 2K, hit us up on Twitter, replying to an article that they were ramping up their pursuit of D'Lo, and it's in the Twitter conversations because a couple Dubs fans jumped in, one Wolves fan jumped in. It was first off, what's going to be the price for D'Lo, and number two, this is the biggest one for me. Will the Warriors even want to trade D'Lo by the trade deadline? Because if I'm the Warriors, hang on to D'Lo. You're still going to be in the top 5, I'll say, of odds. I'll be generous and say top 5 of odds for a top 3 pick or the number 1 pick. And what's to the Warriors to say, hey, we'll wait until draft night if we want to trade D'Lo. We'll wait until that point, because if I'm the Warriors, hang on to him. Then it's like if the draft lottery we get number 1 or even number 2 behind the Hawks,
right?
We still can get James Wiseman. And then once we have James Wiseman, okay, we can move on from D'Lo and get what we want. If they don't get what they want in the draft lottery, hey, we're going to hang on to D'Lo and maybe we want something else. It depends on, like, if they get Wiseman, they ask for different things from the T-Wolves. That's what I'm thinking.
I just want to throw out John Krasinski is the guy, and different, or I think I'm saying his name wrong, but John Krasinski of the Athletic of Minnesota had the first report, and he said new president Gerson Rosas and the team's front office has been actively pursuing deals on a number of fronts to try to remake their roster to better fit their vision of the team moving forward. That includes intensifying their pursuits of Golden State Warriors guard D'Angelo Russell. Discussions have yielded no traction to this point this far. So far, Golden State has been inclined to keep Russell unless it's blown away by an offer. So at least backing up your point on maybe they'll wait, you're going to have to blow them out of the water to get D'Angelo Russell because A, he's their best player right now. B, you haven't seen them with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, which was the point of signing D'Angelo Russell. You lost KD, but you could still get a good player that could score a ton of points for you and could still move the ball as well. And C, right now, or at least, what was my C? Great.
And right now, what motivation do you have to move?
I guess, yeah. I mean, right now, C, you suck. So maybe you can at least. Oh no, C was the fact that he's locked up long term.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to move him right now. True. You just signed to a 4-year deal. So that was what I was trying to say. Thank you, Sean. What's up?
So that was it. I was looking back through the tweets, and I threw out a deal, which was because the first question was Warrior fan jumped in and said Rocco's got to be in the deal. So I threw out a deal with Rocco, and this was, I'm going to give him a shout out, at 903 Coleman, Dubs fan, said that, hey, I'd be happy with that deal, but it's like I put way too much. Like the T-Wolves are giving up too much. And he shot one back that had Kevon Looney in the deal. And that's where the Wiseman thing came in. Hey, if we get Wiseman, we can move, like we can include Looney in a deal because we got Wiseman. If they don't get Wiseman, maybe they want to hang on to Looney. So it's all about, to me, of not just what the T-Wolves want to get up, but what the T-Wolves want to get back, because Dieng's contract is big. You've got, if you're going to now include an Allen Crabbe in that deal, expiring contract, that's a big contract. So it's the Warriors, it's going to be, they're not just going to give up D'Lo. They may have to give up like an Alex Burke or a Kevon Looney to meet the numbers of a big contract that the Wolves want to give up.
I don't know. I mean, ideal situation, this trade is centered around Wiggins and D'Lo, right? Like,
no, what I was seeing is Culver and Rocco is what most Warriors fans were saying on Twitter.
Interesting.
Was Rocco and Culver and a first. That was the main of the deal.
I've heard Wiggins in some realms, but also I really haven't seen too much traction on what pieces are actually going to be in there.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that the Warriors fans would want that, because what the hell would Wiggins truly bring to a team like the Warriors? I don't think he improves that team at all, where Rocco at least is a 3-and-D guy, and Culver could also be that as well. Just be a spell to Klay, hopefully, and you can hopefully build him up to be a guy that if Klay leaves or if Klay isn't the same Klay, could at least fill that spot. I think it makes sense, at least long term, because Rocco and Culver are two secondary pieces where I think Wiggins always wants to be at least a tertiary piece, where you have Steph and Klay. It's going to be tough to fill him in, especially when he doesn't work off ball.
See, I think it's actually, like, I love this dynamic, by the way, of like the two dueling trade packages. I like the idea of Wiggins going there because I think that he is a perfect fit for that team going forward at the 3. Like, you have two great guards who can space the floor, and allowing Wiggins to be a slashing athletic wing, like, this is, for me, that's his dream situation. He's got amazing facilitation. That offense moves constantly, so you're not going to have a clouded up paint. Draymond stretch out the floor, whether people respect him or not is up to the day of the week, but like, I think ideal situation, like, Wiggins brings them someone who can take over games if both of those guys are having off nights, Klay and Steph. you can still divert to Wiggins and he'll get his.
My biggest worry with that would be if you do have that and Wiggins does take on that type of role, then you're taking the ball out of Steph Curry's hands right away, and he is not your initiator. And we saw exactly when Steph is doing that, when Steph is your initiator on offense, how dangerous he can be. And if he's not that, or at least if he is that, what is Wiggins off ball? Is he just then a cutter, and then maybe you can have that? But I have the fears that he might turn into a Westbrook-like player that doesn't move without the ball, that isn't involved in the offense, and that way you then basically turn it into a 4-person offense and kill the flow.
But let me drop this little nugget in there. Wiggins, I'm thinking Wiggins is not going to be in the deal.
Yeah.
Because of what we saw on the court between Steph and Giannis. You're telling me Steph's not trying to get Giannis over to the Warriors? And if that is true, because everyone's like, oh, we saw tampering on the court, but Steph Curry's obviously going to say, no, I wasn't trying to recruit him on the court. If they get Wiggins, that's a big enough contract to where it's like, well, we can't make a play then at Giannis, even if we wanted to try to make another super team. Yeah.
But you do another sign and trade because if Giannis says I don't want to go back to the Bucks, which I don't buy that Giannis is going anywhere.
No, I just wanted to throw that little nugget in there because of what we saw on the court.
Yeah, but I don't think it's substantial enough because yes, Steph was talking to him, but I don't think this is like
James has talked to him.
Until that paper is signed, anything is possible. Even he can go to the Hawks.
They're going to be a 70-win team this year.
He could go back to Greece. Like anything's possible.
I mean, Nikola.
I highly doubt that's going to happen.
I think. I don't believe it. I guess it's something to keep in the back of your mind.
Most people thought LeBron wasn't going to go to LA, and he did. So anything's possible.
No, I think most people did think he was going to go to LA, and I was consensus. Wrong. And I didn't think that KD and Kyrie were going to team up, and I was wrong. When you say
I thought they were going to go to New York. When you said Brooklyn,
they did go to New York. Brooklyn's in there.
The Knicks. The New York team.
That team sucks. But when you think, when you think about actually the true rumors, I was the one that was always being the contrarian, and I was wrong every single time.
Yeah, that's fine.
And we haven't heard any rumors outside of that stuff with Steph. That was the first time we saw anything like that, and we haven't really seen anything.
Anything's possible until that ink hits paper.
Sure.
I mean, Giannis can't even sign it anyways for 2 more years. So he's got this year, then next year, and then he's a free agent. So he can't sign until 2021.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, like, if you trade for Wiggins is there until 2023, which would affect that.
But also if you make that trade now, you don't have to move him right away. You still have you could still have him next year with Steph and Clay and Draymond. You could still have him on the team because you don't need to make a move because you could still have his contract on next year because you don't need to move him right now. You can move him in the offseason and then sign Giannis.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm just saying if they get him, he's not going to be that easy to move. So they might be like, we don't even want to mess with that complication. If what their plan is, what I'm saying it could be.
I mean, do you think that D'Lo's easier to move than Wiggins?
Yes.
Really?
Right now?
Yeah.
I mean, they're both under term for long-term contracts.
Are you asking right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say D'Lo is easier to move.
And then in 2
years,
better player. Or in a year and a half,
well, I mean, Wiggins is under contract until 2023.
And D'Lo's longer. Because they signed, right? I'm not crazy here. They gave him the extension.
They're both 2023.
Okay, they're both 2023.
Yeah, because he could only sign a 4-year because he was going to a new team.
I would say D'Lo because if you're asking me which player I would rather have on my team, I'd pick D'Lo.
Yeah,
D'Lo's cheaper and younger too.
I get that. I still think that Wiggins has higher upside just as a wing, but at the end of the day, I don't think either one of these guys is hard to move.
How many years are we going to say that about Wiggins, though? Man, he's got so much upside. Maybe this year he'll get to that potential.
I mean, he's been better this year than we've seen, but he hasn't been
since, and maybe it's the whole LeBron going to Cleveland that messed up.
Maybe it's the fact that in his second year he was a 20-point scorer already. I mean, that's the thing. When you start off already better than 80% of the NBA as far as your offensive skill set, it's hard to say.
And when the team isn't built around you,
better.
I disagree with that because I think a lot of his points that second year were just high usage and then also a lot of garbage time. That was a bad team. They needed somebody to score. I think it's exactly Zach LaVine's syndrome. Like, how good is he truly? You're putting up 20 points, which is impressive in the NBA. You know what? I couldn't do that.
No, you could not.
do think that there is a point where it's like, all right, how impressive is it going to be, especially when, especially in his second year, he was shooting like 54% true shooting. And he has never been over that in his career. So that was his best year, and he's been, declining since then. I mean, his best year, at least per wise and true shooting wise, was that second year.
Yeah. I'm just saying wings are more impactful than guards in my mind. I'm taking a guy who has upside still because he's 24 right now and putting up like 23 points a game and like 4 boards, 4 assists. Like, he's not a bad player. And I think that you guys are having him on the Warriors.
He's a bad player,
saying,
but
like,
I don't
on
think
the Warriors, I think he's a good fit. I think D'Lo is a worse fit on the Warriors as a third ball handler because he needs the ball in his hands.
The big thing is defense, too. Like, D'Lo
Wiggins can play off ball.
A D'Lo Steph backcourt is atrocious defensively. I know Clay would be in there at the 3, but D'Lo and Steph, you can't have both of them in for their defense.
See, that's my thing. I think they need to move on from D'Lo because that triplet doesn't work, but Wiggins fits there size-wise, skill set-wise.
Well, and that's the question. If you're the Warriors, do you move on from D'Lo at the trade deadline, or do you wait until the draft or after the draft before next season?
They're in no rush to move away. I get why the Timberwolves are trying to do this now, though, because they want to make Cat like locked in.
Yeah.
They want to be like, look, all the rumors out there, all the shit swirling, like Cat said it, I'm gonna be a Minnesota Timberwolf, like that's my jam. It doesn't matter until you lock it in.
How many players have said that? I'm gonna be here my entire career, go somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of the problem with free agency, and players needing to do what's best for them versus trusting a franchise that's never gonna put them first. So I have no problem with people saying that publicly at the time and it changing later on. I just think that it's a move the Timberwolves are trying to desperately make to validate this team going forward because they've been stuck in the same rut and they're not going to make the playoffs. And again, remember how hot they started off this year? And it was, everybody's giving them shit. I think it was like the Timberwolves are going to be bad this year or some shit and got like memed to death. And then all of a sudden, as soon as Cat like tweeted it, like that team's just been shit.
Yeah.
And it's back to Timberwolves are spooky.
So I mean, I think you need to make a move at least if you're the T-Wolves because you obviously need to hit that Cat thing. I think we've seen enough of Cat and Wiggins that clearly Cat's a better player and you need to move on from Wiggins. So it's just something where maybe Wiggins would work better with the Warriors, but I'm not sold on it, and I know D'Lo would work better for the Wolves. So if I'm the Wolves,
that's the thing.
I don't know what is too much, but if I'm giving up Wiggins, it's not a deal breaker, and if I'm giving up Rocco and Culver, I also don't know if it's a deal breaker as well because Culver, he's been better, to start, and he is still young, but he was an older rookie. He was a sophomore coming out, and I don't know if he is that next level elite player.
He's an atrocious scorer, like absolutely awful.
But he's also young.
He's young. I know.
So and he was a slow starter in college as well, and then he picked up. So I think you could say that he just needs to get more comfortable in his role. I also think it's tough for him where you go from a Texas Tech team that was absolutely electric at moving the ball left and right. And then you go to the Timberwolves, and that's not what they've been able to do. And you see, too, as well, I mean, since Cat was injured pretty much December 30th, he's been averaging 15 a game. And I think that just deals with there's less space, there's less, Cat worriness, there's less usage, at least for him. So you at least can go to him, and, he's shooting 54% from the field, 30% from three. In the 10 games in the past 10 games where Cat has been out,
45%
and they've used him more.
From the field.
What'd I say?
You said 54.
Okay,
there's a big difference there.
But I flip numbers all the time.
I know.
So if I say a number, it's probably wrong because I flip the fucking numbers.
I'm just trying to clarify.
I don't know what that is.
He's
but
45,
I do it all the time.
30, 57. Like, that's his shooting splits.
45, 50, 30, 57. Right? That's what you said?
45, 30, 57.
Yeah. So, 45% to C is good. He's been an inconsistent three-point shooter before, and that was a concern that we had coming out of college. I think this could just be chalked up to they don't have a system. They don't have an offensive system that at least caters to his true abilities, and also he is still young. I mean,
in college he got to play off guard from a true point, and now he's playing off guard from Andrew Wiggins at times. He's playing lead point guard, and like his assist to turnover ratio is almost flat. So that's things that I agree with you. The system doesn't work for him yet. And it may take time. He may be able to grow into it. He may be able to take over. But at the same time, I look at this start and I'm like, okay, he's trending in the right direction, but I'm still not even sure this guy should be starting. I just get that this team's going to do it because they want to give him the push because he's a top pick. And you don't want to put a Kogi in there because Okogie's your lockdown defender on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind them starting him, especially when Cat's out, because at least give him a ton of usage and see what happens. Mm-hmm. I also think, too, I mean, the fact that he's going to be 22 or 21 in like 20 days, happy birthday.
Yeah.
I think you just can't. We nailed Trae Young to the tree last year. You know, like we were ready to kill him after half a season.
True.
I would like to see what he would do, when he is playing in a better system, or at least with a better point guard, which could be D'Angelo Russell, if they do trade Wiggins. I just, it's been 41 games in his career. I'm not saying he's a bad scorer yet. I'll just say that.
He wasn't a great scorer in college is the thing. That's what kills me is like, I liked Culver because he was that like combo, he's a big 2 guard who was able to ball handle some. He could share offensive responsibilities with Thurley Point. Mm-hmm. But
good defender.
When the game came down to the line in the tournament, like we saw what he turned into. Mm-hmm. And that's why for me, like it fell off for me. And I do like the idea of what he could be with a true point in a different system. But as far as value of the package, like Wiggins on one side versus it was Rocco, who is, again, this year, he's less than great, but he's still 3-and-D wing on a good contract. And who was the other piece? It was Culver?
Yeah, for the T-Wolves.
Yeah.
It was Culver and Kobo.
Rocco.
Kobo.
From what I'm trying to work out 2 trades now.
Okay, well, here, let me just throw one more thing to Culver, and you can finish up your trades. With Culver, his rookie year, he was a better off-ball player that shot 38% from 3. So I don't think that... I think a big reason why he was drafted was that he showed versatility both in his freshman year and sophomore year. He showed growth. He showed the ability to handle the ball, be a decent off-ball shooter. Yeah. I think that on the right team, especially like the Warriors, I think that he could be a very good fit. And after 41 games, I don't think he's shown that he is a great player, but also he's only 21 years old, and I'm not ready to kill him, especially when he's not in a system that truly caters to what he is. I think if you put him on a team that... If you put him on Boston... I don't think you'd be seeing these struggles.
I agree.
So I mean, you're putting on a great team. So if you're like, no fucking shit, he's going to be better. But I do think that we wouldn't be having worries about what he would be long term. I just don't think that it fits because there's no ball handler, there's no ability to move, and he is a very good passer. I think, at least for his size, and I think that he can ball handle. I just don't think that he is a true playmaker, if that makes sense. I don't think he is very good at cutting, distributing. I don't think he's got great at reading pick and rolls just yet, and I think that's something that he can develop. But also, again, he's gonna be turning 21 soon. What's up?
So the 2 trades, the easy one that I worked out that works money wise, but if you're a Warrior fan, how many picks are you going to include on this? Allen Crabbe is going to be in this because the thing that I like from the Teague trade is Crabbe would be near the same money as what Dieng would be.
Yeah.
But Dieng's got 2 years. Crabbe's only got 1. So you can say, hey, you're done with Crabbe at the end of the year. This is just for making money work. I've got Crabbe, Culver.
Poor Allen Crabbe just being the salary dump of the century.
Exactly, because of how he's played recently. So Crabbe, Culver, and then 2 firsts. Add another if you want for just D'Lo.
Yeah.
Or if you're like...
And that's if Crabbe doesn't play with the Timberwolves because he hasn't started... And I think he might start on Friday, this next game, actually, if he would.
Today's Saturday.
Yeah. I've lost track of the days of the week.
And then if you want Rocco in the deal, this is where it becomes tricky because the Warriors have to add players. The only way I could make it work money-wise is Crabbe and Rocco because anything else puts the Warriors over the tax apron. So Crabbe, Rocco, and I put those same 2 firsts in for D'Lo, Kevon Looney, and Alec Burks. But the thing for me is if I'm training Looney, I'm not doing that unless I know for sure I'm drafting James Wiseman.
Why do you like Looney so much? No one likes Kevin Looney. You're the only person besides his mother that likes Kevin Looney.
No. I'm saying it's not a fact of liking Looney. It's who's going to play center.
Who cares?
You're going to put out Willie Cauley-Stein? Like, who's going to be at the center for them? I feel
they
like...
They suck. They don't care about winning.
I feel like the Warriors are not going... This is for next year, not for this year.
They could
sign somebody. The Warriors are not going to trade Kevon Looney unless they know they're getting James Wiseman for next year.
If they're getting what they want in a deal, especially picks and stuff to make assets and to go out and trade for other pieces to help next to Andrew Wiggins, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, they will find somebody that can play a center like Kevon Looney. If
That's not an irreplaceable player.
Yes. If that is what they need to get the deal done, they will get that deal done. They could then just trade for him in the offseason and give him a second. Like, it doesn't matter if they are that tied to Kevon Looney. I don't think that truly matters.
Anyone else the Timberwolves could be going after? Because if all this D'Lo talk is seeming like the Warriors don't want to make a move until draft time, or unless they get an overpay almost for D'Lo, like, do you think there's anybody else the Timberwolves could be looking after?
So I did pull up, this one 15 days ago, Dunking with Wolves, Timberwolves fan-sided site. They've got Malik Beasley, Hernan Gomez, and Buddy Hield as 3 intriguing trade targets for the T-Wolves.
And again, like, that doesn't...
The Hernan Gomez one doesn't truly make sense to me. The Malik Beasley one, I guess, does, because you at least get to put him next to... I mean, but he kind of fits that Culver role as well.
He's just better offensively.
Yeah. He's better, yes.
He's going to be more expensive, though.
Better, worse ball handler.
From what they say about the Hernan Gomez just at the beginning, he checks a lot of the same boxes as Beasley, as Denver just has too many good players on their roster to get everyone decent playing time. Juancho is a different type of player than Beasley, as he fits more of a stretch 4 mold. Then Beasley makes more sense as a 2 or a 3, but that makes Hernan Gomez an even better fit for the Wolves' current roster. This was before the Allen Crabbe trade, though.
Gotcha.
But Crabbe isn't going to be playing a stretch 4 anyway.
The Beasley one doesn't really interest me. The Juancho one definitely doesn't. And then the other name you threw out was Buddy Hield, and I don't think that's truly going to happen. I mean, they just extended him. I highly doubt that they will move off of him.
They're just playing off of that Hield was became frustrated with how the Kings season was going. So maybe does Buddy Hield does he do a Deadman thing of like, nah, I want the fuck out of here. I mean, I want to trade.
I don't think he has that much of ability to. I don't know.
I just don't see them moving on from him. Like, even if he's unhappy, I don't see him moving on.
Yeah, I think that's unlikely. And
he's a perfect pair with Fox. Like, that's the backcourt.
Yeah,
They decided him over Bogdanovich. So, like, it's in stone for me.
That team's a fucking mess. So maybe you're able to find something. I mean, it is Vlade, so I'm not going to doubt Vlade doing Vlade things. Not taking. Why not take your fellow countryman and just take the best player in the draft? Let's take Marvin Bagley. Why not?
No, I don't know. I think the other name that I've heard out there was the DSJ one, because he's not getting minutes. And I'm like, again, what does that do for this team? Is that where
D'Angelo Russell is? He's in the Buddy Hield and DSJ category.
That's what I'm saying.
Buddy Hield's better.
Buddy Hield and like D'Angelo Russell are really good players, and they're worth their contracts, and that's fine. But like, if they swing and miss on the D'Angelo Russell because the Warriors, like Ricky's saying, maybe don't want to move on until the draft hits and before free agency opens up, then maybe they go ahead and they're like, hey, we can take a run at DSJ and see if there's anything there, because his value is at an all-time low. And what's it going to hurt you? You're not going to make the playoffs this year. You have a young player who has great athleticism, and he did shoot pretty well, even though it wasn't a fit for the system in his time with the Mavs. His time with the Knicks, he was incredibly inconsistent and led to him getting benched, and it was a horrible coaching situation on top of that. And I know right now he's not getting the minutes because they have so many young guys they're trying to roll out there, but it's one of those things that makes you think, like, could there be something there that we can take a shot at him?
It brings me back full circle to the whole grading thing, because to me, I am putting a pause on the Wolves grade, because if they cannot make a deal done before the trade deadline, then yes, give them a bad grade, because Allen Crabbe can only be used this year for a trade. If let's say the Warriors say, no, we're going to wait until the offseason, then okay, the Teague trade sucked because you can't use Crabbe anymore. So the Wolves have to get a deal done before the trade deadline if they want this Crabbe deal to be a good, beneficial trade for them and not a bad one.
I don't think it's a bad one, even if they don't miss out, because Teague wasn't helping their team, and they at least then just get Teague off the team and they don't have to play him. Because if he's on your team, you have to play him. So I don't think it's not beneficial. I just think they could have gotten more for him.
Yeah, but if they don't move Crabbe or cannot, then the D that I'm looking at on ESPN, I would totally agree with, because it'd just be like got rid of Teague.
Well, I agree with it. No, again, I'm not going to argue with the grading articles. At least going back to the Dennis Smith Jr. thing, and then we could wrap this up and go to Wet Boys. We'll throw a little hot route in there. We'll go to Wet Boys next. But at least with that and the DSJ thing, I truly think that his whole thing is just he's a worse shooting Jeff Teague. He's going to dribble the ball out. Like you said, he's going to dribble the air out of the ball. He's not a good passer. He gets lost in the weeds too much. He's more athletic than Jeff Teague, so maybe he's a little bit quicker. But truly, I mean, you have Dennis Smith Jr. and Andrew Wiggins on your team. Talk about just killing possessions. There's a reason.
They're not in the same category.
There's a reason why I don't think anyone's like, why isn't Dennis Smith Jr. playing? Because I think he's just truly. People are done with Dennis Smith Jr.
Isn't that crazy? He was a top 10 pick in the draft.
Top 5.
Was he 5?
Yeah.
Wow.
Top 5 of the Mavs.
Wow.
And you know who killed him? Oh, he was top 9. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
top 9.
like no, because remember it was the whole the Knicks took Frank over him.
Yeah.
And they all the fans wanted him, and
That's
then when
funny
they got
'cause
him,
Frank's probably better.
Frank is better.
Yep. But yeah, no, he was 9 after another bust in Lauri Markkanen.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I didn't really miss anybody either. I mean, like Mitchell and Bam, I guess, but I don't think I would have trusted. I mean, Dallas didn't
Bam,
need that
no
at that
big deal.
time. So, and Dennis Smith Jr. was interesting at least for the time. So
Yeah, he's a dunk contest fucking, potential player. That athleticism. Like, lose an ACL, and he still can jump 42 inches? What?
He's worse.
What's his word?
Worse Nate Robinson.
Oh, my God.
Because at least
Sean,
Nate Robinson
that's-
could shoot. Yeah, but shout out Frank Ntilikina. I guess that's where we're going to end the segment. Shout out
the
to Frank,
Timberwolves?
the real GOAT. Yeah, why not? But yeah, I don't think I see a deal being done here with
You think they're
D'Lo.
just stuck in the sand?
I think they're stuck, and I don't think anything's going to happen until the end of the season. What do you guys think?
Do they move?
Final thoughts.
I agree with you. I don't think a D'Lo trade happens. If it does, it'll happen in the offseason. The mini question is, do they make a Rocco trade by the trade deadline for just?
Well, yeah, we already talked about that last week.
Yeah,
I think we
but
agreed.
Rockets
that we
pulled
would.
out, actually.
Yeah, but
this
do
week,
they
so.
do they make that
Interesting.
deal? Like now after this, it's like, does that affect the Rocco trade of like what they're looking for? Or
I don't think it affects their trade. I think it just adds to their ability to then take on contracts.
Yeah,
Or
I think
give them
everybody's
their
on sale
ability
except
they
to-
got
Cat.
that roster spot.
Yeah, and
I think
then
they hit that point.
it gives them more flexibility
Okay.
to trade, whether that be for a D'Lo or something else. I don't think it's going to truly
Okay.
affect what they look for position wise, because I think they're just going to try to get value where value is, and probably
Having a
just
true
picks
point
in
guard on the
general.
team would be nice at some point, though, you think?
Well, that's probably why they would then look for draft prospects if they can't
Talk
find
to
a
the
true point
Cavs. They
guard.
got a bunch of point guards.
If they don't trade
But are
that,
any
none
even
of them
true
pass.
point guards?
if they don't trade that number 1 pick, they can get Nico Mannion right now. That's what
Honestly.
he's looking at in the mock right here that I'm looking at.
I'm going to be honest, and this is going to be just quick before we end the segment.
Yeah.
This draft sucks.
I like this draft. I like guards,
What
though.
This is probably the worst draft that we've covered
I mean,
in the
it
past
doesn't
5
have
years.
the for sure top end talent. It's a lot more spread out in my mind.
And that
I
spread
think
out talent sucks.
3 through 35 right now
Yeah.
is the coin flip.
yeah, and I like that. I like the discussion.
It's
and the
gonna be
argument.
impossible to predict everything.
I hate when it's locked in, where
Yeah.
it's like this guy is here and this guy.
I
is
like
After
here.
when-
last
I
year
like when it's
talking
locked in,
Zion
though,
18
because-
times.
Yeah, but I like when it's locked in more.
They gave you what you wanted.
I like when it's locked in more because A, that means the players are really good,
True.
and also B, they could actually affect the franchise.
they
I
could still
truly
be
think
good.
we could walk away from this and maybe 3 players affect the franchise.
You think this is going to be like the Giannis draft,
I
where the
think
first
there's-
9 picks are just like, fuck, whatever? Like,
Yeah, I think that
Anthony Bennett could go 1. Victor Oladipo doesn't. Like, all these picks don't matter because they're all in the middle.
100%.
Yeah, and the 13th
truly
player
think this-
taken's couldn't be the best player.
I
some shit.
truly think this draft is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
I have that weird
We'll have
feeling.
that talk later.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, let's final thoughts. You don't think a trade's going to happen?
Happens at the earliest at the draft.
Give me Wiggins for D'Lo. Do it. Put the picks in there. Make it happen.
I'm gonna make it
I
happen
want
right
to
now.
see this pick. I want to see this
You know
done.
what I want to see? I want to see the Warriors trade Burks and then just give Wiggins like 40% usage.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I want to see Wiggins pop off because of the amount of shit talk he's endured in this league, and like everybody from day one, he was crowned as Maple Jordan, all this shit memeing on him, and just all of a sudden now he's on the best team in the NBA next year and he's killing it. I want to see success for the kid. And Cat gets to play with his buddy.
I don't
And then they have to find a way to get Devin Booker over there.
I don't want to not see him have success, but also like.
Could you imagine Klay
it's-
Thompson, Steph Curry, Wiggins, and fucking the ball kicker himself, Draymond Green?
What else would you
That
have?
It's been
team-
6 years. Like
They
you
will
just-
never give that
can
up.
you just give up
Nope.
Wiggins, like
Nope.
whatever. Anyways, that's gonna do it for the Timberwolves talk. Let us know what you think down in the comment section below.